Good evening, everybody. Or should I say good morning? Chief Meteorologist Andrew Panero here. It is 7:58 p.m. as of this recording. However, you're seeing it in the morning, just because it feels a little bit easier recording for the next day. So that might be the flow. But I definitely want to get back to a regular schedule, even though I'm still here in California for another 3 months. Excited for that. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the weather for this coming week, and actually starting yesterday too. I don't know if any of you saw, severe weather is afoot. And yesterday with Reed Timmer, it was quite a stream. I watched him for about 2 hours yesterday, and I saw the reason that he's him kind of in there with the expertise and a gut decision, a gut call that he made that actually looked like it turned out pretty well. Oklahoma, there was a single system that was tornado warned, and then a developing one to the south. The gut decision was echo tops 45,000 feet. You have all this, it's nothing really organized yet, but you have all this energy, all this rising motion happening, punching through the tropopause. So you have the overshooting tops in that system, but nothing organized yet, nothing warned. Versus he's on a system that is tornado warned. The gut instinct said, abandon that storm, head south, because that developing system was going to feed off the same energy that that first system was on, which was really cool. And I honestly think I would have said the same thing. I've called this cannibalizing. One storm's cannibalizing another, just because they only have one single energy source in that sector to really pull from. And if one's growing and one's not, that means that one is going to start fading away while the other one's growing. Made the right call. He ended up parking like right on the Dominator. He was parking right under the mesocyclone. And you're seeing funnel clouds come down all around. He was surrounded by funnel clouds at one point. It was really cool. But that severe weather carried over a little bit today. I know he just finished his stream today, but also it's going to carry over to tomorrow. We're going to get to the computer part there and talk about the SPC. But overall, in this video, we're going to talk about the severe weather threat, which is top of mind, front of mind for a lot of people, especially anybody that might be following my channel. We're also going to break this down into weather forecasts for the West Coast, specifically the San Francisco Bay Area, where I am right now, and back home in the Northeast. So we're going to have Central Plains turning to a little bit of the Louisiana area with the severe weather threat going into the week, and weather for the Pacific, weather for the East. So while we're not going to do a coast-to-coast weather forecast, we're going to do a forecast for coast and coast. Maybe a little in the middle, so kind of a coast-to-coast. All right. I'll finish my drink on this beautiful evening, and I'll catch you at the computer now. All right, so back at the desk now, inside. Sun is set, so now let's take a look at some of these weather maps and discussions of what's coming up for the week. So let's head on over to the computer screen here. All right, so a couple of things here. First thing to start is the forecast area for around the New York City area. Now, what's interesting is there's still a frost advisory. Temperatures as low as 35 degrees will result in frost formation, especially in sheltered valleys. So there is still some areas with frost happening. That's right now. If we go north a little bit, nothing there. We head east, nothing there. So it's really just in New Jersey there. Now switching over to San Francisco, there is nothing happening there. Just a little small craft advisory here, but that's because of some of the pressure gradients that we're going to be talking about in just a short minute here. All right. So now this is the key part here. In between the almost nothing happening in the Northeast and the almost nothing happening at the West Coast, there's stuff happening in the middle. So right here. So this is
the day one categorical outlook. So this is for Monday, April 27th. So that's today as you're seeing this recording. This is Sunday night as of the recording, but you're seeing it Monday. So right there's another, almost where I think Reed was chasing right in here. But there is an enhanced risk in there. So that's for today, Monday. Then for tomorrow, which is Tuesday, that enhanced risk gets a little bit wider there. And it moves a little bit more east. And this whole area gets a little bit bigger for thunderstorms, even extending into California. So for tomorrow and Tuesday, it looks like there's a slight thunderstorm chance in some areas. Not where I am, which is the San Francisco Bay Area. There is still a marine layer effect happening there, so that's kind of shielding it. But once you get across the mountains here, more inland, then maybe a chance. But it's really focused right around there. Day 3. It moves south. So now Louisiana gets a little bit into it. Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee, all right in there. So that is for Wednesday. So the middle part of the week, in the middle part of the country, that's what's going to be something to keep an eye out if you're watching from that region. Now, what else is happening is this is creating a lot of instability downstream. And what do I mean by downstream? Well, all of the weather, most of the time, travels from west to east. So here, from this spot, downstream would be east. Upstream would be west. So all this instability that's been happening in the center part of the country is going to travel downstream to the east. And that is going to cause some issues with some rain. Not necessarily severe weather, but some rain. So that is what we were taking a peek at there. Now let me bring up the surface analysis. Let me see if there's an updated one. We have 0Z Monday. So pretty dynamic what's happening right now. There's quite a bit of a setup, especially in the middle of the country, thus all the Storm Prediction Center stuff. But when that's happening, that's taking up a lot of the energy. So there's a low in Northern California. There's a low in the Northeast, but they're weaker. And it's not really going to cause too much happening in the beginning of the week for either coast. Now, going later on to the week, we shall see. So now, let's go to the tropical tidbits. Good old tropical tidbits here, and the GFS. So, let me rewind here. A little sneak peek there. So, there's a couple in the central part of the U.S. there. So, going through Monday, that's kind of near the target there. As this moves east, it expands. This is 0Z Wednesday, so this is Tuesday night, where there's another little flare-up, it almost looked like. And this is almost detached from the original system, but in between, there could be maybe a little shower action happening right in there, late Tuesday into Wednesday. But then that detached energy, or that stir-up, once it gives some havoc over there, then it's going to make its way east. And here's the picture, 6Z Thursday. So that's 2 a.m. Thursday, Eastern time. And that's from that little energy wave. And this could bring some pretty intense rain through Thursday morning and into Thursday afternoon and evening once you go more east up into New England. Now, what's happening on the West Coast with that? Once this system kind of blossoms, then another little energy spike stirs up there. All that makes its way. You saw the high pressure right there, 1023 millibar high. Nothing's happening here. So that's Wednesday. And through Saturday and Sunday, maybe very, very Northern California could see a little something there, but I wouldn't put too much weight into anything with that. So overall, looks like on the Pacific area, right around California where I am right now. Nothing too much is happening this week, which is a good thing, although we could use a little bit more rain because this is what I learned recently too. During the summer, it's almost like a wet and a dry season here. I never really thought of that before doing all my forecasting on the East Coast. But on the West Coast, it almost acts like a wet season, dry season. We're in the wet season right now, so we should be trying to get some more moisture because the dry season comes and there's almost no rain. Like the last time I was here for 3 months, and out of 3 months, it rained 10 minutes. That was it. Okay. So this is a very interesting setup where there's quite a bit of action happening in the central part of the U.S. that makes its way east downstream. And then another energy spot here blossoms up, and that causes more havoc for the Northeast overnight Wednesday into Thursday. And then on the West Coast, Southern California going into Mexico, that area, the Baja, can see a little bit of action. But that's about it. And some of those southern parts are even going up into the Four Corners. You can see some action a little bit there going into Friday or overnight Thursday into Friday. But there's really, for California overall, there's really nothing happening this week, at least. So the biggest weather story from this is the severe weather happening through the central part of the U.S. over the next couple of days. So if anything spikes, I'll try and keep an eye out. It's a little bit harder with my schedule here, but I'll try and keep an eye out, and we'll look at some things together. That might be more of a short style format. Reed Timmer said he's going to be going live, preparing for a long live stream today. I don't know when today he's going to be coming out with that, but he's going to be chasing, and today, Monday, is going to be a pretty good day for that, as well as Tuesday. So we'll see about that. All right, so that was a very interesting look, quite literally coast to coast. We were tracking what was happening on the West Coast, the center part of the U.S., which is really the weather story of the week. And then that kind of led to a little bit of a rainstorm happening on the East Coast and the Northeast specifically. So central part, definitely keep an eye to the sky, and you should have some sort of emergency radio communications or just a NOAA weather radio like this has. You can use my affiliate link below, which is through bettersaferadio.com. I get a little kickback from that if you make a purchase. It costs nothing extra for you, and it supports a small business, which is the gentleman named Mark that runs bettersaferadio.com and programs those radios by hand, each one of them. So if you want to support him and you want to stay safe with emergency communications and NOAA Weather Radio, feel free to get a radio from bettersaferadio.com. All right, that is going to be a wrap for this video. This might be a good working situation with the videos. Maybe once a week now. I'm thinking maybe recording Sunday, going or publishing it Monday. That might work, just like what happened today. So I'll let you know. And if you want to follow along, feel free to hit that subscribe button below and the little bell icon right next to that so you get notified whenever I upload a video like this. Or in certain rare circumstances, I might go live here. But mostly I won't be going live here. That's back when I'll be back home later in the summer. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed. This is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next video.